everybody, welcome. We're going to be making a cookie that you can dunk into your coffee or a nice cold glass of milk. All right, let's get started here. It does get a little bit messy at the end. That's why I have my board, because we have to put the dough on the board and just knead it a little bit and then cut the dough into our cookies and roll them. All right, what are we going to start with? We're going to start with our sugar. We have some sugar. By the way, if you would like this recipe, visit me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Margaret DeVigo or Pensieri Dolci. In your comments, ask for the video. I'll send it off to you. Or email me at margarets.pensieri.dolci@gmail.com. And I'll get it right off to you. Now, every recipe needs a little bit of fat. And this recipe, it has two types of oils. We have some extra virgin olive oil. It gives the cookies a nice taste. It's not overpowering at all. And some sunflower oil, which is a bit lighter. So it won't seem like a heavy, oily taste. You really don't even taste the oil, to be honest. Okay, and we're going to have our Italian yeast. It's a lievito. It's a vanilla flavored, and I always love to sift it because once you're at the end, you'll see little granules. And we don't need a mixer with this recipe, so you want to make sure that everything is nice and powdery and no lumps. Okay, that's that. And we're going to need our eggs. We need 2 eggs. And it's also, I'm sure you all know that when you're baking, your ingredients should be at room temperature. So maybe about half an hour before you bake, take your eggs out, your milk or your butter. Oh, we don't want a shell in there. Be a nice surprise for somebody. Okay, and also the zest of a lemon. And you have to be careful too. So you just want to grate just the top layer. You don't want the white part because that's bitter. Okay, and you're probably wondering, what's Margaret going to do with this lemon afterwards? Lemons are fantastic. So sometimes I squeeze the juice out of it and I make lemon ice cubes. Or I have, right by my sink, I have a jar with baking soda. And if I've used a pan that might have some sticky stuff in it, I will sprinkle some baking soda on that dirty pan. And then I squeeze the lemon juice on top and magic happens. And the pan comes out amazing without using an SOS pad or those powdered cleaners like Comet. Okay, we've got our lemon zest. And we're going to now start whisking. This is all you need. So start whisking your stuff together. There we go. It's kind of neat when you don't need a mixer. Very easy recipe that you can whip up in no time. And these cookies are great for your morning coffee or when you have guests come over. Full disclosure, I made them yesterday, so you will see the end product and you will see what you need to do before you put them in the oven. They go in a 350 degree oven for about 30 minutes. And you know our ovens are all different, so check them at about 20 minutes. And if they're not golden brown, slightly golden brown, leave them in for a couple of minutes more. Now, as you can see, we have a nice mixture here of all those ingredients that we put in here. Smells divine. Now we're going to add the milk. And I'll let you in a little secret. When I was making them yesterday, I had the dough all done. And I said, well, this dough is kind of hard. I forgot the milk. So I added the milk and they worked out okay. No need to stress. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. Now we can add our flour. I found that with this recipe, always have a little bit of extra flour on the side, because depending on your liquid ingredients, you might need a little bit more flour. And you'll see that because the dough is really sticky. So I'm going to add it a bit at a time. There we go. I can still use the whisk at this point. I'll switch over to my wooden spoon shortly as I add more flour. But as you can see, the flour is mixing in very nicely with the eggs, the milk, sugar. Okay, I'm going to switch over. And we'll start adding more flour. It asks for about 500 grams of doppio zero flour, but I found yesterday I need a little bit more. So I do have a little bit more than 500 grams, but I'll just keep an eye on the dough. Once you've made the recipe a couple of times, you get to know the consistency of what the dough should be. Okay, it's coming together nicely. Okay, we'll add a bit more flour. Once you've got the dough somewhat all mixed, you can turn it over onto your board or your counter, or whatever space you're using. Okay. Okay, together nicely. I'm going to start scraping this off. I'll use love this tool, pastry scraper. Comes in so handy. Every kitchen should have one. All right, I'm going to dump it over. So as you can see, this is a wooden board. It was made for me by my late father-in-law, Bruno, and it's obviously wood on both sides. So I usually reserve one side for when I make fresh pasta, and then on the other side for stuff like this. Okay, the dough is coming together so nicely. It's not as messy as it was yesterday. This is great. So clearly, you need a little bit more than 500 grams of flour. I would say I had here about 520. Okay. Clean up the board a bit with your dough. Okay. Very nice. Let me get this out of the way so you can see what we're going to do. Okay, you're going to need a bowl of sugar, like that. Going to need your baking sheet with parchment paper, like so. I'll leave it here. I'll just stretch a bit. And this is where you start cutting off your pieces of dough. This dough makes approximately 12 cookies. Now, if you want, so that your cookies are all the same size, have a scale and just measure out. Take the weight of your dough and then divide that amount by 12 and use that weight for each cookie. So I'm not going to weigh it today, but it's basically this amount, and you're going to roll it like that and then into a small log like that, and you're going to roll it into the sugar and place on your cookie sheet. So as you can see, recipe was very easy to make. No mixer needed. All you need is a whisk. Just looked out my window because we have some robins in the area. Actually, one robin flew out of the nest too early, so he's perched on our chair, And the parent bird is feeding that robin while it's on the chair. Pretty cool. Okay. I'll do a couple more. I'm sure you got the idea, the gist of what you want to do. And actually, when I made them yesterday, I thought that next time I might make the cookies smaller. You can actually make 24, you can actually make, I'm pretty sure, 24 cookies. And they'd be half of this size. So that's what you have to do with the rest of your dough. I'm just going to move this over because I want to show you the end product. Here you go. Beautiful. They crack open a little bit on top. The bottoms are nicely browned. The tops are golden, and they kind of glitter with that sugar on it. And you either need a cup of coffee, or what I'm going to do is grab myself a glass of milk. And before I dunk this, I just want to leave you with this message. We all have a passion that we want to work towards. We all do. Whether you know it or not, you do. And once you follow that passion, and you will, it's going to work out. And you're going to think, well, maybe I'm not good enough. My product isn't, who's going to want my product? But erase those negative thoughts. This is what I found. Stop acting surprised when good things happen to you, because you're a good person and you deserve it. Keep that in mind. So that's why I'm going to take one of these. I'll show you. I'll break it in half. Nice, beautiful dough, consistent, no lumps. I'm going to grab my cold glass of milk. I hope to see you on my YouTube channel. Ciao for now. Tante belle cose. And here I go. Who said dunking is rude? They don't know what they're talking about. Yes.